Hey guys, welcome to the DrumQuig podcast, episode 5. And I noticed you're all going to know there's only two of us on the screen. Dad couldn't make it tonight, but we definitely want to, make sure he's a big part of this. But my next guest, somebody who was, again, one of those first people to kind of follow the podcast, somebody who, interacted with us right away and just was somebody that we thought was really interesting. So welcome to the show, Paul Christiansen. Now I can't even say your name. AKA Polymetric, one half of Pathos and Logos. Look at that. I can get through it all. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good, Matt. Thank you for having me tonight, dude. I'm glad we were able to work it out.
Absolutely. I always love the background in the videos, and I love that you have it now. So, I'm going to go right into that. Why that? That is just so in your face, but I think it fits, your personality. If anybody's seen any of your videos, that it really works. So why that? Let's talk about that.
Well, the truth of the matter, I like the tapestry thing going on behind, but it is, if I'm honest with you, a natural product of just the studio that I teach at. I'm at Mojo's Music Academy in Longmont, Colorado, and they just have these nice tapestries everywhere. They just happen to make nice backdrops for the videos.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I wish that I could have said that there was. Wish I could have said that there was some grand strategy, but it's just like, they're here.
Whatever works. At the end of the day, sometimes you feel like some of those stories are fluff. They're like, well, this was passed down to me, and you're like, no, I like how this looks. Looks good. Simple
You're
explanation is it's Occam's razor.
See, now that's a missed opportunity. I should have been like, I went to the Andes Mountains and spoke to an immortal mutant. I should have come up with some better story about why I haven't.
Next time, Paul. Next time.
That's right. That's right.
Obviously, the show being about drummers and you being a drummer yourself, take us through, what got you into drumming and why do you still do it? It's a journey.
We're playing the game where we both have the idea to talk at the exact same moment. Matt, I'm happy to talk about that. The truth is, and you can tell my voice is a little rough, a little gravelly. That is the result of somewhere between overuse and misuse. The truth of the matter is I started out as a singer. But my brother is the one who wanted a drum set. He got the kit back in the day. I started fooling around on it, having fun with it, of course. And then I got about 2 or 3 years deep into it, and I just really got the bug. I discovered people like Dennis Chambers, Carter Beauford, Dave Weckl, kind of the luminaries there. And I like that gesture. I kind of saw the light there, as it were. But I always like to make a point of this. Part of my incentive, not all, obviously, just its drums are in my heart. I love them. But part of my incentive to focus on drums as opposed to singing is a lifetime of asthma and sinus problems. My hands can't get bronchitis, man.
That's the clip. We were talking about this earlier. That's the clip right there. It's just going to be my hands can't get bronchitis.
That's right. My hands can't have an asthma attack. So,
the three you mentioned, even the three guys you mentioned have come up on the show a lot and were influences for myself, my dad, people we've had on the show. And we got to see Dave Weckl at a drum clinic. God, I couldn't have been older than 11 or 12. And we talked about this on the last episode. It was so funny because they're doing Q&A and somebody goes, "What's the name of your band?" And the whole room turned and just screamed the Dave Weckl band at him. I was like, why would you come to this and not know this?
Oh, that's funny. Well, I heard that the jazz bass player Ron Carter was doing a clinic one time, and one of the, people have different experiences, different knowledge levels, but so somebody in the audience asked Ron Carter if he could read music, and there was laughter throughout the entire hall, and then he just is like, yes. Yes. Famed jazz bass player Ron Carter can, in fact, read music.
I always joke because, I went through band all through high school, and I was like, I can read it, but if I look at it while you're playing it, I can play it. Like, it's one of those things where
Oh,
you're just
there
like,
you
okay,
go.
like I just figure out, the patterns and what's going here and when do I need to do this. And then it got to a point where it's like we play something like Shenandoah, which that's a real nerd moment right there. And there's a triangle hit, 142. It's a pin, 142. And I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. And then one day I was like, no, no, no. He does this, and then I go. And you know what happened the first time I did that? I missed it. I missed. I was like, I needed to do 1 and 3. I hit 2 and 4, and I was like, you know what? No one's gonna know. No one's gonna
That's
know.
right.
Afterwards, my
But
band director was like, "Really?" I was like, "My bad."
yeah, but you were also trying to work out a method for how to keep track of what was going on that might have worked a little better for you than just like counting up to 142. There's some people that do fine with that, but not everybody does, man.
No, definitely not. So, um, and then I got to see Carter play for the first time, actually, I think last year, because I like the Crash album itself just stands the test of time. The worst song on the album is Crash, which is weird, but you listen to Say Goodbye and he's using the hot rods, and I listened to that, and I've been trying to play that for 20 years. Can't do it. I'm like, I got it. I got it. Gone. It's no, it's gone. I'm out.
There's so much good educational content for drummers in the world right now. Obviously, I was watching the episode with Dylan Decker that you guys did, and just talking about Drumeo, man, and like all these amazing resources for double bass. You have Martin Jovanovic, for like his double bass course and stuff. And there's still such an amazing amount of mystery in it, Matt. Like you can have all those resources. Excuse me, I have a sinus infection, so my face is melting. I appreciate your patience, guys. But you can have all of these incredible educational resources out there available for sale, a lot of them also for free, and you can understand mechanically what somebody like Carter is doing on Say Goodbye and the fact that he's using the hot rods. He's just busting out singles. You can know like nuts and bolts, gear and spring, how it works. And yet there's still that like ineffable, like essential, but like magical thing of like, I've been practicing this for 500 years and I still just can't get it to sound. It's
Mhm.
I think it's testament to the fact that it's so much more than just the sum of its parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect way to excuse me, sum that up. Because if you think about the three guys you talked about, Chambers and Beaufort, like three completely different styles that they made their own. They took it upon, and I'm like, even guitar, you're gonna have people who stand out. They're gonna do things that everyone else was doing, but they're gonna do it slightly different, and it's gonna sound completely different. And it's a lot of the times you see, like, as drummers, we're a little bit more critical, I think, when we see somebody play, because we're like, all right, you missed that tom there. Like, they didn't know, but I know. And then you feel like kind of a jerk because you're like, really? I can't do that.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's like a malicious act. For whatever that's worth, I think that that's having a mind for it, caring about it, and it's testament to the way that you sculpt your own mind. You spend time behind the instrument. You put in a certain amount of hours. I mean, it might not be the same amount of hours that somebody like Dave Weckl did, but you put in enough hours that if he clips the rim of his tom instead of hitting it dead on, you're still like, it's a little bit of like a gotcha moment. It's
Like,
just,
you're
yeah.
still
I
human.
think
You're
it's
still human.
testament. Yeah, you're still a human being, and it's almost just like, yeah, it's like you paying attention. You're just being dialed into what they're doing, man.
No, and I think that's a perfect way to kind of break that down is to say, you know, we talked about, seeing Virgil, and somebody asked Virgil how he got. Virgil denied. They're like, how'd you get so good? He's like, I practice like 19 hours a day. And they were like, ha, 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 ha. And he just kind of looked at us, and I was like, oh, he's not kidding.
Yeah, he
And
didn't stutter,
and
dude.
no, And that's the thing, like you said, the amount of resources compared to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, like you'd hear it and you'd have to play it that way. That was it. You'd be able to maybe get the transcription and be like, okay, maybe I can play this. And I think I still have one of the Dave Weckl books around here somewhere. So listen, Dad's gonna be upset. We missed talking about Dave Weckl, but man, everything he did with his crossovers and the traditional grip, it was just so weird because I'm like, that shouldn't work.
Right.
And again, the mechanics, it's okay. I can do that. No, I can't do that. Never mind. No, can't make you do it.
Dude, actually, it's funny that you would bring that up because I think in a lot of cases, it's been my experience, man, both as a player and as a teacher. I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. The percentile between being really, really good and being a person like that, I believe, is actually a relatively narrow percentile. Let's just, for the sake of argument, call it the last 10%. I look at it as like it's only 10% that separates somebody who's like notably good from being like legendary. But that last 10%, every inch that you gain, if you are gaining at all, is a dogfight, step by step by step. I think there comes a point where, like, you can do those moves, those Weckl moves. You can do those Carter Beauford moves, but it's. I think there comes a period or a stage where the amount of novel information that you're absorbing and implementing into your style sort of slows down, and it becomes a matter of refinement, refining the same concepts to like a razor point. You and me right now could do a single stroke roll just the same way as El Estepario can do a single stroke roll. He just refined it into this Death Star like laser beam. And then there's the rest of the human race. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a matter of
Listen,
degree.
the man is just doing things that don't make sense. Again, we go back to the not making sense, but the I'm personally the blinding lights cover kind of changed it for me because if you've heard that or watched what he's doing the gravity blast, and you're like, okay, look at him doing it on the. Oh wait, no, he did it on the. What just happened? And you have to watch it 3 more times to be like, we talk about that. Like, we live in an age where the information is so readily available that we just have people who film themselves watching other people do things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why are we doing this? Like, I don't know. I could go off on a tangent about that, but I'm gonna redirect us back into like you said, your brother was the drummer. You kind of got everything that clicked. So, what was the music? Obviously, besides what Chambers, Beaufort, and Weckl were like, what was the music you were playing or you were influenced by, and how has that changed over the years?
I'm also, variety of styles. I have a jazz background, a metal guy as well. You mentioned something about just like that almost what just happened moment. That was the first time I heard Meshuggah. In the metal world, Meshuggah is my top. They're like my all-time favorite thing. And I have a very close friend, my buddy Scott, like back in the late 90s, we're sitting in the parking lot of this record store, Vintage Vinyl, in Fords, New Jersey, and he plays me the Meshuggah Contradictions Collapse None combo CD, and I'm listening to Tomas Haka losing his mind. But it's not just like, yes, he's got this extraordinary level of technical aptitude, but part of what the sound is that the guitars are also working with what the drums are doing. Like
Yeah,
there's such a
it's
powerful,
driving it.
right, like working in lockstep with it. And I at that moment decided that I kind of wanted that to be my thing. I'm like, okay, this dude is like busting out jazz licks, like, and he's a metal guy, and they're on this like insane cutting edge of like rhythmic stuff. And like young kid, I was all like, why doesn't everybody do this? This is so objectively superior to what else is going around. And then, cut to years later, and many misdirected futile attempts at creating that, and you realize, oh, it's because it's insanely hard. That's why there's not a million. Oh, okay.
And
But
so many
yeah.
bands
So
did
like,
that, like Metallica doing that with One. The guitars were driving that double
yeah,
bass, and you're absolutely right. The same thing with Bleed. Without the guitars, that does not punch the same way. It's super technical, but without the guitar just kind of steering it in the direction you need it to go, I think that's where you're
it's
like. But now every time they hear Bleed, they're just like, I can hear it. Okay.
yeah, dude. Yeah, the lockstep of the guitar player's right hand locking in with the kick drums. That's the sound. It's like the guitar's a percussion instrument, dude. And that's why it gets
Yep.
that like anti-aircraft fire sound that they're getting somehow. It's insane.
Hmm.
But yeah,
And
yeah.
it is crazy.
Say it again.
See, we keep talking at the same time. It's great.
Yeah, no, I just the Meshuggah thing, like Danny Carey from Tool is an influence. Obviously, Dave Lombardo from Slayer, and then add to that like the fusion guys. I went through a big period of time listening to Tower of Power the way that I think a lot of us do. David Garibaldi, all the linear
David
stuff.
Garibaldi. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, just trying to throw all of that into a blender and do my poor man's kind of interpretation or impersonation of all that stuff. The way that we all are, I guess.
Yeah, and I like the way you put that. You're just like, the interpretation. But one guy you kind of led me to want to bring into this conversation was Jason Bittner, having that
Oh,
jazz background and playing the metal music and doing the little things that he would do where he would double up on the ride or something that in a jazz setting would work so perfect, but in the metal setting, it just punches so much harder. So
it does.
I was like, man,
It's
now I want to go back to the Shadows Fall again.
Aren't they touring? Am I making that up, or are they doing reunion shows or something?
I think they're doing a 20-year tour for gosh, it's not The Light That Blinds. I know which one it is. It's not Redemption. It's one of those. Sorry if you're watching this. Like, listen, if Jason Bittner's watching this, thank you. Like, thank you.
That's right. Right. We're both grown adults with memory. I can't remember what record it is either. But Jason Bittner, thank you for what you do, dude.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
It just says tour. Like, I hate the internet sometimes. We talk about how. Oh my god, is it the third? It's not the 30th anniversary. Don't even say that to me.
It's the
The War
30th
Within.
anniversary of the
Okay, so
self
I was
War Within. War Within.
no, it's it's 20. Yeah, it's 20 years. So okay, I was like, geez.
All on the edge
I
of a
was like
panic
that
attack.
that that would have hit a little too hard there. Mm.
It's the 30 year of the self-titled Corn record, dude.
Oh man. So
Gross,
the
right? Isn't that
Follow the
so
Leader.
gross, dude?
Follow the Leader
That's a
was
good
one of the
record too.
first CDs I ever got, and I got it in the weirdest way. I don't know if I should tell this story, but I'm going to anyways. Remember Columbia House,
Oh
where
yeah,
you would
dude.
get like, yeah. So we did it when we were kids, and they sent all the CDs, and I got Korn's Follow the Leader. I was putting up my CD player, and my parents found them and just sent them all back. And I was like, but I still have this. And they were like, well, don't know what to do now. And I mean, we didn't have credit cards, so they never charged it to anything. So I guess they just had to write that one off. But I always thought that was a funny story. I was like, I didn't mean to steal this. I promise. Like, it just kind of happened.
It feels like some kind of like divine intervention. Like you were meant to have that record,
Yeah.
man.
Well, and the first CD I ever bought, I bought at the Brooksville Walmart with my dad, and it was Metallica's Black Album. I bought it with my own money, and I was like, for that to start off my life is a weird thing because, like, obviously now, like, I love Injustice for All and Master of Puppets and Ride the, like, all of those precursors, but that one changed it because I was like, this is different. And I remember getting the Offspring Smash, and I saw you guys post about that the other day. That CD has some bangers on it too.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got in trouble with my grandma on that one because there was no parental advisor on it, but there definitely was.
Little
There
questionable
definitely was a
language up
need
on
for it.
there.
Yeah,
I
yeah, just a little bit.
feel like
But
that's
then,
almost a rite
like
of.
as I've gotten older, it's a what?
What were you saying?
No, I was gonna
This
say
is
you. I
this
think
is
you were gonna say
amazing.
it's like a rite of passage.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's like a rite of passage. Like at least one parent or grandparent has to wildly disapprove of a record. For me, it was the Dr. Dre, the Chronic record. And like my parents were like, what are you doing with this? Yeah. So needless to say, I listened to it 1
I mean, I'm
million
asking
times.
what you were doing with that. So no
Yeah,
judgment,
dude.
no judgment. We don't do that.
The,
What's the
yeah.
one CD? I think we're like 1 second behind. I think that's why it's doing it. Like we're like 1 second.
Okay.
It's that mountain time thing that we're dealing with right
That's
now.
right.
Everyone else has been on the East Coast. So thanks for messing it up, bud. Jeez.
Oh, okay.
Jeez. What's the one CD that like changed your life? Like what's the one that you heard and you were just like, I don't ever want, like, you played it so much that it broke.
That I think I could probably say that would be the Destroy Erase Improve record from Meshuggah, dude. That like had all of the best of their old school sound and then like them transitioning into what they were doing on Chaos Sphere and stuff. It just there was something about that record still to this day that completely exemplifies in one proportion or another all the stuff that I would like to be able to do. And I'm still at it, man. Like the I have not taken a day off of practicing in 9 years. It's been 9 years since I took a day off, homie. I'm still getting after it, man. Like, not to get too personal on you and stuff, but like, decided not to have kids about it and stuff. Like, I'm going in, dude. And the funny part about it is, I feel like this is an important thing for people who are adults, who are students of the craft, and who are trying to push themselves to stuff. I've talked about this actually in one of my like car like morning drive to work musings is
Traveling
that adults.
transgressions. Traveling transgressions.
That's right. The ephemeral shower thoughts, except you're not in the shower, you're in a car. Um, is that the adult students you can accomplish just as much. Like I see it like it's happening literally to me in real time. I have to practice every single day. There's this little dimension that's better, that little dimension that's better. No, I'm not about to go and take on like an LS Depario or a Riccardo Merlini or somebody like that. But for the things, my goals and my aspirations, that daily practice continues to pay off, man. And yeah, little kids can learn stuff really quickly and really effectively. But I think for adults, the barrier is time. You have to have the time to devote to it. I've
Yeah.
been a music teacher for a very long time. I'm still at the studio that I teach at right now, man. So I just come in real early in the morning and I kind of built my life around it. I get my practice time in and then give my lessons throughout the day and so that was yeah. That Destroy Erase Improve record was kind of like, well, okay, like I'm like again, if all that it ever amounts to is just a poor impersonation of Thomas Haka's performance on that record, man, it still remains a worthy endeavor to me. That's for sure.
See, that's brilliant because, like, I'm not that big of a Meshuggah fan, and it's not that I don't like him. It's just I'm not as big a fan, but I love the passion that comes from it, and I think that's the beauty of metal is that you could be passionate about a band that no one else likes. You could be passionate about a band that everyone likes, and it doesn't matter. You're just like, that's cool. Like, we're going to see Windrose. Have you heard of these guys?
Diggy diggy hole.
My buddy texted me. He goes, "Hey, look up this band." I was like, "Okay, cool." He's like, "We're going." I was like, "Cool. Like, let's go." Like, I had listened to 2 of their songs and I went, "This is brilliant." I played it for 3 other people. They're like, "This is awful. Like, why do you?" I'm like, "You don't think this is hilarious and amazing?" No, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, and of course, being respectful of other people's tastes and interests, there's a part of you that's like, all right, man, I get it. It's not necessarily your vibe, and then there's the other part of you that's like, why do you hate fun? Like,
I don't like fun, sir. That's exactly what that comes down to.
why? Yeah, no,
So
yeah,
we met.
you're. This second thing is going to keep happening. Looking at your buddies like, well, how could you not be into Windrose, man? How could those
Yeah,
dudes? But it's true, everybody's got their thing. Actually, the funny thing about the Meshuggah thing, I want to specify here is that my window for them is '90s Meshuggah, and they've been around for long enough. They've been around for long enough that they put out the Nothing record in 2000, and I don't think there's a lot of people that aren't even aware of the stuff that they were doing in the '90s, dude. They
mm-mm,
literally sounded when they first dropped like Metallica and Justice for All era, except like they did a bunch of drugs and like studied music theory really hard. Like that was the stuff that was exciting to me. They still had a bunch of like crazy like skank beats and like punk beats and stuff like that they were doing, the gang vocals and stuff, but they had that wild advanced rhythmic sensibility, which is really my takeaway from it. That's what drives me. And then after a certain point, I mean, like every band goes through changes and has to pursue their vibe and their feel, but they kind of like slowed down, and a lot of their music for the last like 20 years has just been this kind of slow dirgy thing, except for Bleed. Obviously Bleed is really high energy, but it kind of like,
yeah.
yeah, like it doesn't have that like spastic like I don't know. It's and good for them. I'm just some guy in a Kangol hat, man. They're Meshuggah, but
Oh man, you just made me think of Spastic Ink.
great.
Yeah. When's the last time somebody mentioned that in a conversation? Let's talk
You
about
don't
that.
hear about Spastic Ink in every conversation you have, dude. Weren't they brothers, dude? Isn't that what it was?
Yeah, it was Ron Jazarbeck, and then he had Chris Adler played for him. And I remember this
Oh,
because of the Modern Drummer Fest from like '04, '05, where Bittner and Adler played. And I just was like, I don't know what's going on here because it was so just erratic and very all over the place. But man, it was good stuff. Like it was,
to be able to play that stuff and to be able to like Dave Weckel's a great example. Dave Weckel is an amazing technician. He can play super technical stuff, but you feel it. So like the Spastic
yeah,
Ink thing, like that's wild, all the stuff that they're doing. But you still feel the
yeah,
passion in it. Blows my
absolutely.
mind to this
And
day,
you
dude.
could feel, like you said, it's just like, oh man, I'm starting to think of all the weird stuff I listened to, like Blotting Science. Like that was another one that was like out there.
Just taking it to like other dimensions and stuff, dude.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Talking about other dimensions, you mentioned the band earlier. Like, tell us a little bit about the band and why you guys like. What are you guys doing? And I keep seeing the food diaries and everything else. Like, I love the little like behind the scenes because it's ridiculous, but it's so good. So I thoroughly enjoy it. So tell us a little bit about the band.
Kyle and I have been in a lot of bands since about the mid 2000s, and not one of them, with the exception of Pathos and Logos, made it past the 2 year mark. They just something always happened. Like we were in a band. Are you familiar? There's a death metal band out of Denver called Allegion. Have you ever heard of Allegion? They're a metal blade band.
Maybe. I mean, Metal Blade, you say that, and I'm like, hold on, I've probably heard of it. Continue.
The incredible band, wild musicians. They're super sick musicians in that band. We were in a band with Mikey Stansel from Allegion called The Caveat, and we did the CD release at the Marquee in Denver, and had a great show. Everything went really well, and then the bass player from that band was like, "Well, that was fun, guys, but I have a plane to catch." He got a job working for Tesla, dude. He moved his family to Sparks, Nevada. He makes electric cars now. And what are you going to say to the guy? Like, no, stay behind and stay in our Denver metro area prog band. Like, don't go make six figures. So guy had to go do what he had to do. But Pathos and
Yeah.
Logos was it was an attempt to simplify. And everything that we wanted to do as a band ever, we were able to start doing when we busted it down to two dudes.
Sorry, we just had a moment. So we're talking about Allegiant, the Allegiaeon.
That's
So
right.
they're playing in Tampa. They're playing in Tampa next month. So I'm gonna go see them. Like,
You will not be sorry. You won't be sorry, man. That'll be a good. The drummer for that band is bonkers, dude. He's one of those where you're like, what did you trade for that level of ability,
I'm literally sending it to my buddy now, who's going to the Windrose concert. I'm like, hey, look,
man? Oh yeah, you
it's
won't be
it's good.
sorry about that one, man.
Well, it's so funny. So I'm gonna throw a little plug in here. So because we live in an age now where tickets aren't a thing, this is my unofficial plug. So there's this company called Stub Forge. Looks pretty real to me. So we're
That's
gonna give them a nice little plug here, because you basically make the ticket and you put all your information on it. You put what seats you're in, what price you pay, like the date, everything. So I've made them, and I've brought them to concerts and had the band sign them, and it just blew their mind because they're like, wait, you have physical tickets of ours. And so for the last one, I actually brought the band like 10 extra ones, and I just gave it to the band. And I was like, give them to whoever you want. You guys can keep them. They lost it because I was like, we've been to 3 shows to see this particular band, Capstan. And the funniest part was I found out I went to high school with the drummer. And for us to go to the same high school in Hudson, Florida, kind of nuts. So I was like, I had no idea. He was like a couple years after me. But anyway, being able to give somebody a physical ticket for them to sign or for them to keep, like, it's a different feeling. And I feel like that's why I love that metal makes so much vinyl now. Metal is putting, oh yeah, you listen to it on Spotify, but we've got this really cool blue and white ocean wave, like, designed three vinyl for $100, and you're like, take my money. Just take my money. Like, it's
that's
fantastic.
something.
But
That is no. You hit on something there, man. That's something that in the modern era, like it's been lost, and it's a crucial part of it is everything ranging from the ticket to the vinyl, the physical talisman, having something that you can hold in your hand that represents the musical experience. You know what I mean? The ritual of putting a record on, or like, yeah, you just said, how much did you blow those dudes' minds by handing them physical tickets? Like, it's like these artifacts from a bygone era. Okay.
yeah, I did not just randomly have that sitting right next to me for the purpose of this conversation, but it really did.
It's real.
Listen,
It happened.
first CD was Metallica's Black Album. First album was Steely Dan's Asia. So yeah, I started well, and
Yes,
that's
sir, you did.
that I'm gonna give credit to my dad. So he let me listen to everything. He never was like, you need to listen to this or you need to listen to this. He kind of gave me all those options, and then he changed everything forever when he gave me Scenes from a Memory.
Yeah.
And that album just I will never look at music the same after that. I've seen Dream Theater now 7 times, I think. I've seen Portnoy play with Neil Morse. I've seen him play with John Petrucci when he did his solo stuff. And now that he's back in the band, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I'm so freaking excited
No,
because
it
that was
feels
it. That was it for me.
it was the Images and Words record for me, dude. There's just, and that's the combo. You think of Portnoy, like Mike Mangini is like from another planet, man.
Yeah.
Like nobody could ever take anything away from that guy. But yeah, no, it's not a mistake that everybody was as stoked as they were when Portnoy came back, man.
Yeah.
That was
And I'm like, listen, I love some of the stuff Mangini did. Did I not like some of the stuff? Yeah. Do I not like some of the stuff Portnoy did? Yeah. That's fair enough. And that's the subjective nature of it. But having a parent, you know, guide you, but not at the same time. And I got a lot of influences from my mom too, and what we listened to. But it was like for the music side of it, like that was it. And of course, Metallica, and Dream Theater, and Rush, and and then you're listening to Dave Matthews and the Police and Bad Company and REM and Roxette. Roxette was a staple in the house. That was nobody talks about that either. B-52s. Like my music was all over the place. And when I met my now fiance, we've been together, it'll be 11 years this year. She was the
it's
only person I
amazing.
met my age. The only person I'd ever met my age who liked the B-52s. Because everybody looks at us and they're like, it's kind of weird. And I'm like, no, this is my childhood. This was what I'm listening to. So I know we
There's
just went off
something.
on a weird tangent there.
We're supposed to, dude. I think that's the move. I think that's the move. You had touched on something about the B-52s thing, just like about the power of when music gets in, like when music hits you at a certain age, it just hits different forever. For me,
Yeah.
my B-52s was the Spin Doctors, dude. Like for as many times, for as many times as I have listened to Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer, the Pocket Full of Kryptonite record from the Spin Doctors just managed to make it in this bizarre little pocket in my development that nothing will ever sound quite like that does. And it's the only record of theirs that I really like. I'm a 1 to 3 records guy. Well, I like there's bands that some of my bands are my favorite bands of mine that I'm obsessed with the record, but it's only one record, and I only
Yeah.
seem to go as far as 3. Whatever they're doing on that next record, it's like car blinkers falling out of sync. But yeah, that one Spin Doctors record, dude.
But you're right. It's there. You hear it in a commercial, you hear it out, and you're like, huh. And you just do that. It's like the bat signal. Oh, gotta go into this memory in my head here, because that's exactly what happens at that point.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, it
But
left a being a human is wild.
well, I'm gonna have us close out the show with giving you the chance to give us one of your moments of Zen. Your what did I call them? Traveling transgressions. So
That's
what's some form of wisdom that you want to impart on everybody and kind of leave them with here today?
Well, now that you've said that, I'm not going to be able to think of a single one of them.
You can reuse one. It's fine. You can reuse one. That's fine.
I'll recycle some material here. I'll recycle some material. Just the idea that, um, we talked about a lot of great drummers, man. We talked a lot about a lot of killer musicians overall, but certainly a
Yeah.
lot of really killer drummers. And I think everybody knows that you have to work hard. Everybody knows you have to work hard for a really, really long time. But there's a level of ability. You had mentioned Virgil Donati practicing 1 million hours a day, right?
Hmm.
And way outside of like the half an hour or something that like the typical music teacher will suggest that you practice every single day. There's things I think, you know, you, I just think that there's stuff that comes out of those really long practice sessions that doesn't come from anything else, and that Yeah, you can just cram a lot of development into a fantastically shortened window by going for those extreme practice sessions. Not everybody can do that. That's not the way everybody's life is set up. But I think the overall
Mhm.
umbrella that I'm going for here is sometimes it's a misapprehension to call it playing the drums. Sometimes, in order to really achieve certain of the extraordinary things that are so available to us, you look at these crazy drummers, these amazing levels of ability, like the drummer from Infant Annihilator or something like that, or Eloy Casagrande, who we're all privately wondering whether or not he's actually going to be the drummer for Slipknot right now. But
We all
you
know
don't,
it's going to happen.
it's
We know
going,
it's going
let's
to
be
happen.
adults about this, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you don't get to be, I mean, I don't think you don't get to be Eloy Casagrande off of like 20 minutes to a half an hour of practice every single day. You need to go
No.
through this like ritualistic, crazy interval where you're pushing yourself, and it's work, but you
Yeah.
make that sacrifice and then you come out the other side of it with an extraordinary level of skill. It's whether I ever get there in my life or I don't, I'm always going to try, because
Yeah.
every time I watch somebody who can play like that, I still to this day think, I know you know what I mean. I still think, yep, that's just as dope as it ever was, dude.
Yep.
Like,
And that's literally it's Dance of Eternity and Say Goodbye. But Say Goodbye really is just that one where you're just like, damn it. No. Uh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it again. But that's the show for this week, Paul. I really got to thank you. It's an absolute blast to have you on, just because, like I said, you're a unique guy. I don't mean that in like a unique like you're the weird kid sitting in the corner unique, but like you're a fun guy and you're exemplifying the drumming lifestyle and you're teaching it to other people and you're so like providing that for other people, and I think that's pretty awesome. So thank you for that. Thanks for being on the show. And if you guys tour in Florida, please let me know because I will be there, and I will definitely have to hang out if you guys make it past Jersey.
Oh, dude, you can take that. You take that to the bank. But we're coming to Florida for sure. Where are you at?
I'm out of Tampa, so
Yeah,
all the
no,
music's here, so it'd be really easy.
we talked about that actually just the other day. We got to make it down to Florida, man. So we will keep you posted. Matt, thank you for this opportunity, man. You guys are doing a wonderful thing. Communicating to people, the community about drumming and everything, and in addition to it just being a joy to talk about it, I know that you know what I mean when I say this. This is the news ticker that's going through your brain all day, every day. So
Yeah,
it's nice to have an opportunity to kind of dig in and have someone to talk to about
absolutely. Well, once again, thank you from us to the. I can't ever say the name of the podcast, which is so funny because I named it, but the DrumQuig
it.
podcast. Special thanks to Tales of a Concert Junkie, always repping their shirts. Support local music. It's a huge, obviously a huge thing of mine because we want to get these people out there and give them those opportunities. And of course, my unofficial plug for Stub Forge. Ivan's amazing. I think he's the only guy that works there, and I don't know how he puts out as much work as he does, but because of him, I have keepsakes from concerts that I never would have had, or tickets that I've lost or got destroyed. So you guys check them out. Maybe one day we'll be a sponsor. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we're here to talk drums, have fun, and have a good time. So Paul, you help with that. Thank you so much, and that's it. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the DrumQuig podcast. Thank you so much.